This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
We're the whites. Nobody ever cares if bad things happen to us anymore.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Hey, Rick at that.
A chocolate bunny. You can actually beat over all of the whites really fit perfectly. All of the whites in here, baby.
It's the 126.
Let's get this thing going. What is good? What is good? Mic check, mic check. Shout out to everybody in the house, man. Appreciate all your early birds showing up. Little Rock, first one in the building. The lovely Ms. Cantrell, followed by the lovely Chocolate Bunny. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here early in the game. Appreciate all your support. My man Terry in the building. What's good? Rational B. How y'all doing out there? Bluff City. Shout out to Bluff City Nerd with the 5-ball. The government is open again, and I only see ninjas complaining about it online. You can't make this up. You can't make people happy. You really can't. You can't make people happy, which is why I don't try all that often. Really can't. Shout out to Bluff City Nerd with the 5-ball. Hit that like button as we get this thing started, y'all.
Give me the money. Give me the money for all that I was you. Give me the money.
You know, I saw something like a prompt asking me to download Windows Defender. Nah, I don't download things on prompts. You want me to download a thing, you have to completely shut off all function and say I can't go forward unless I download this thing. You're not just gonna prompt me into downloading something. No. That's how you go out like Willie Lump Lump. I ain't trying to go out like Willie Lump Lump. But let's get right to it, y'all. Blinded by the Whites. We are back for another edition of the racial conversation. You know, we try to keep it as clean and marketable as you can manage this type of thing. You know, I have been known to go overboard, but you know, now that I'm all shekel approved, I'm trying to be a good guy for the algorithm. You know, the algorithm doesn't like when you misbehave, so I'm trying to be good. That being said, though, do Black people obsess over racism? Is it just too much? You know, as I look around Black YouTube, there are basically 3 major topics that are always in orbit around Black YouTube. If you discount anything celebrity related, you know, rappers, actors, poets, musicians, whatever, if you discount any type of celebrity, there are three things that are always talked about in Black America. Black men ain't shit. That's number one. Everybody loves that. Everybody hates Chris, you know. Black women ain't shit. Because, you know, everybody hates Keisha too. Apparently, years ago, we discovered that there are way too many black women outside, just roaming the public. That was a whole night on Twitter. And so, you know, black women and black men ain't shit. Those are the two big topics on black YouTube, right? And really on black internet, period. Now, the third topic is always white people ain't shit. Those are the three. It is a triumvirate. It is a holy trinity of black content. Black men ain't shit. Black women ain't shit. White people ain't shit. Those are the three subject matters of black social media, really. It's all around black social media, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Telegram, LinkedIn. Motherfuckers be putting up anti-white smoke signals from the project rooftops. Anywhere that black folk are communicating, these are the three subject matters. And the irony of the third subject is white people ain't shit as a content topic, as a subject, as an event. White people ain't shit will often offset and disperse. It will totally quell the black gender war conversation. I've seen this happen over and over again. The one thing that will unify the warring parties of black men ain't shit and black women ain't shit is white people ain't shit. It's a time-tested phenomenon of like the universe. It's like aurora borealis. You know, every winter the light sky will glow up, and black men and black women will forget their gender war so they can hold hands and collectively hate on white people. I've seen that ever since George Floyd. It probably was going on way longer than that, but I remember being in the black manosphere and being in the middle of the Pookie and Ray Ray versus educated lame debate. And then an actual Pookie or Ray Ray, however you want to describe George, he was actually killed by the police, and it was all racism. And I watched the fault lines and the black manosphere widen into a Grand Canyon. It was a chasm between people who had been on the same side ideologically up until that point. And that was the first time I realized that the power of fighting racism, nobody's actually fighting racism anymore because there isn't much racism left to fight. But the power of unified hating white people, like when black men and black women go together hand in hand, hating white people, they forget all of the drama that they would normally have for one another. And it happens around election cycle often too, you know. They have to whip up some type of racial narrative, basically, to get black men out there voting. You know, get your booty to the poll, remember? And so, you know, and we were talking recently about DJ Hamp and that whole black conservative thing. And when you listen to a lot of those guys, I think they're talking politics over there right now. Shout out to This Might Be Risky. You know, when you listen to a lot of these guys around black internet, and I'm talking about Hamp and them because Hamp in his own way is weirdly like socially conservative, but being black from a political standpoint, it drags you into liberalism. And so when I'm listening to these guys talk about black Republicans and black conservatives as like a race traitor or something, the only real substance they have to their criticism is basically you're on the white people's team. Not that you're arguing something illogically, not that you're, just factually incorrect. No, it's literally you're on the white people's team and you're supposed to be on my team. And so there's this giant anchor around the necks of most Black people, which is basically the racial conversation and racial posturing and your racial attitude or whatever. It is this weird thing in Black America that you kind of have to identify with. Otherwise, you're not doing Black properly. And that's one of the big reasons why Black conservatives, the young MAGA crowd and all that, that's why they get the hate that they get, because from the perspective of a lot of, regular rank and file, everyday Black folk, and especially the politically active left-wing Black folk, you're literally like turning your back on your tribe or something like that.
Hi, I'm a Karen.
It's nighttime in the DC party scene. But this isn't just any costume party. It's packed with a political message.
I don't talk to the media.
What is your Halloween costume?
Hakeem Jeffries.
This crowd is partying the MAGA way. The Make America Great Again movement, despised by some across the country, loved by those in this room.
This is just a great time for young conservatives to come together, meet each other, and make America party again.
CJ Pearson at the center of it all.
It's a big night.
Part-time party host and full-time MAGA influencer.
You lost the electoral college and you lost the popular vote because Democrats are insufferable. Donald Trump isn't just making D.C. safe again, he's making it healthy again. Because I can finally go on my Hot Boy walks again. Yo, I'm going to have to pop off for a little bit. The tribalism in the Black community needs to end.
He's one of the rising stars of MAGA.
Mr. Ross, what are you here for?
We showing love, baby. We showing love.
His presence so undeniable, even rap royalty Rick Ross comes through to perform.
Rick Ross was at the Black MAGA Halloween party? Had no idea.
I think these parties have given a little bit of a confidence boost to a lot of young conservatives who for a long time thought there weren't many people out there like them.
But Pearson is also using his presence to carve a lane for more young Black conservatives in the grand old party. What about the MAGA movement attracts you and makes you want to bring other Black people into the fold?
It's a movement that is putting America first, and that means every American of every shade, of every color.
And see, one of the things that bothers a lot of the mainstream rank and file Black folk about right-wing Black people is this this want to move past the racial conversation. It's not that you can ever not be Black. Voting for Trump, you're still going to be Black as far as your actual physical makeup is concerned, but I reject the politics that you have to adopt in order to maintain your standing as Black. And then on top of just the general politic of it all, I reject the burden of constantly carrying on the racial conversation. And especially when it's such a one-sided, hypocritical conversation. I really can't. And one of the problems of escaping this is that it literally goes all the way to the top. From Barack Obama all the way down. Here's Jasmine Crockett.
To Davy Crockett, the great old Davy Crockett. But you have this woman Crockett, a very low IQ person. Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding.
Davy Crockett did die at Alamo in 1836, but I wonder, what is your reaction to what the president said about you?
Listen, he has nothing of substance to contribute when it comes to critiquing me. There's a lot that I talk about. For instance, we've just had an entire conversation about gerrymandering and redistricting and why it's bad. And instead of him being able to elaborate on the fact that I'm unable to make a cogent argument or something like that, and then back into his argument that I'm low IQ, He just knows how to throw that insult, but it's a common insult when it comes to people of color. He just threw the same exact insult as Charlemagne the God. And so I want people to see him and understand who he is. This is a person that has a problem with people of color, period. I don't care how many black MAGA out there with their hats. I want to be clear when we look at who it is that he's kicking out of this country as people of color.
Notice that he just made a basic topical criticism of her, you know, a surface level criticism. She's just dumb. He basically called her dumb, right? Didn't get into her ethnicity, her group belonging, none of that. But she immediately bends the conversation into a racial conversation, because that is what it is to be black. You must always be black and never be anything but black. You can't even be two things simultaneously. You have to be black everything.
When we look at who he always disrespects and says that they are low IQ, even though when you look at his cabinet, this has to be the most incompetent cabinet we have ever had in the history of this country. When we're talking about people that literally have the ability to drop bombs or order that bombs be dropped or make recommendations that bombs be dropped, and they literally don't know how to get the signal chat right. So we're talking about low IQ individuals, but so long as they say that this guy is their guy, and usually if they work for a certain news network, that's the only qualification that's necessary. I've got news for the president. I am not going anywhere. No matter how many squiggly lines they draw in the state of Texas, I will be back, and I will be on his behind and making sure the real accountability that the American people are demanding, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, or independents, that it has had when the Democrats take control of this House in the midterms.
Now, one of the things I've also noticed in the recent years, as we have all this conversation about racism, systemic oppression, the system itself has kind of bent itself toward the will of helping black people. It's bent itself in the direction of propping up and promoting black people, black women particularly. And it's hard for me to constantly hear allegations that, you know, the entire American system is rigged against black people, when the very black people who are making those complaints are people who have directly benefited from the game being rigged in their actual favor. Like recently, there was a wave of firings at I think it was CBS, because woke is going out of style, and a lot of companies, they invested, meaning they hired a lot of woke black and brown people to cover woke issues and to manage departments and to make sure you had enough brown people in the mix and all that. And now it seems like that whole wave is going out of style, and now people are complaining as if the process that hired them wasn't racism, but the process that fired them is somehow now racism. It's a weird place to be.
I just got laid off from my job at CBS, and every producer on my team who got laid off is a person of color. Every person who gets to stay and will be relocated within the company is a white person. Now, in my meeting with the executive who told me I was getting laid off, I specifically asked him if it was a consideration for us to be relocated somewhere else within the company, and he said that we advocated to keep the show. We advocated to try to get you relocated somewhere, and we couldn't. Because I asked him, why are you the person who is making this decision or delivering the news that we're being laid off? And he said, oh, it could have been anyone. Only to later find out, because it wasn't until I went downstairs thinking that me and all of my colleagues had been laid off, that I found out that it was only the people of color. So I went one by one to my white colleagues. Are you getting laid off? No. 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 So I went back up to his office and I told him, I think you lied to my face. And come to find out, it was not his decision to eliminate the show that I worked for. But he did get to decide who got to stay. I told him, you said that you couldn't get us relocated, only to find out that you were able to get some people relocated, and they all happen to be white. Am I supposed to believe that that's a coincidence? And he said, yes. I'm supposed to believe that's coincidence. I said, do you believe that's coincidence? He said, I do, because I chose to keep the people who I had worked with before.
Yeah, because before they weren't hiring for diversity, right? And now we're no longer hiring for diversity, right? That means the people that we hired, the diverse people that we hired in the interim, you're all gone now because diversity went out of style.
So mind you, not only is it not based on merit, it is in its result racist. I don't care if you decided to keep people who had purple colored hair. You deciding to keep people who you had worked with before, which don't even know if that's true. If the outcome of that decision is racist, the action was racist, that shit is fucked.
It was a racist outcome. You ever roll the dice and you come up with racism? That ever happened to you? I think you got to use 3 dice like in CeeLo. That's how you get racism. You got to have 3 dice. You don't get racism in craps. Only in CeeLo. The 3rd dice is the racial dice, right? But that's what happens. Sometimes you roll the dice and you come up with racism, you know. Say la vie. I want to address something in the chat really quick here. Oh, and I think you did put that link in. Let me make sure I open that up. I'll catch that another time. Can't quite cover this in total right now, but let me comment on what you just talked about in the chat, Chocolate Bunny. In reference to Tommy Sotomayor having a weird crash out with white guys, a white supremacist on the panel. Maybe he kind of learned maybe he got a reality check, you know, a nigga wake-up call, as it were. Chocolate Bunny says, it doesn't have to be today, but I believe it ties in because Tommy was butthurt that the clear people didn't want to hear him out on how to work together. I mean, technically, if I were a white guy in today's climate, I wouldn't really want to hear black people out on how to work together either. Nor would I advise black people to take that course of attempting to, quote, work together with white people. I'm not even sure what that means on a practical level. Like, what are we going to build a barn or something like the Amish? What I think is being asked of black people is not some type of hand-in-hand racial partnership. It's more like a cessation of hostilities, you know? Can we have an official ceasefire? You know, black people, stop calling white people, you know, evil and racist and, you know, accusing them of stealing everything. You know, stop treating white people as if they've committed an original sin. And I guess white people will continue to ignore black people mostly and pay for a lot of the shit that black people love, right? That's basically the deal. I don't know if working together is literally on the table. I'm not sure if working together is on the table at this point. It's a nice idea, don't get me wrong, but practically, I wouldn't even know where to begin with on how to approach white people and black people literally working together in some type of grand way. I'm not going to get into the Tommy thing right now because it's going to totally sidetrack me from what I wanted to do. But Chocolate Bunny brought it up, and I hadn't really known what was happening, and I thought it was worth talking about. Yeah, Red Illusion says, how about we worry about the interracial violence first? Yeah, I think that's kind of the issue here. There is no ask of working together. And again, I don't think the white nationalism for the most part has a lot of diehard diabolical plans against Black America. That they just literally want you to stop chimping out. You know, how about this? If they arrest brown people, Black people don't show up, you know, that kind of shit. You know, you don't have to work together. Just don't work against me. You know, the type of shit a husband says to a wife, right? You don't have to work together with me, but stop fucking working against me, right? That's basically where it is. Anyway, moving back to the show. I'll come back to the Tommy thing in another time now.
All of these are all copies of my resume and different cover letters.
Searching for a job has become Shauna Pinnock Glover's full-time gig.
It is a mentally taxing process.
On top of spending hours on applications and interviews, she's undergoing the most physically taxing process she's ever endured.
You know what? One last thing before we get back into this, because Chocolate Bunny pretty much, he says the white guy Tommy was arguing with, just echoing my my sentiment here. And another thing about white people, another thing about black folk talking about white folks so much is that they don't even have a proper theory of mind of white people. It's like black folk believe so many goofy things and get caught up in so much weird rhetoric that they have completely lost a proper theory of mind of black folk, of white people. And so that's one of the reasons why it's really difficult for a lot of black folk to approach the racial conversation, because like I don't think they've talked to enough white people and done enough objective observation. The kind of stuff I've done on my channel over the years, covering like the white wellness movement and the no white guilt guy and all that stuff. The theory of mind is it's a necessary part of your strategy. The abstract things do matter. Anyway, now let's really get back to the show. You know what? I'm gonna drop this clip because now it's totally out of order. We done lost the rhythm of it all. I want to jump up to Kamala real quickly, because Kamala Harris is another one who she plays into the racial angleness. I mean, she plays into the racialness of things while remaining racially ambiguous herself. And I think that's hilarious that a lot of black folk just went for it. But here she is claiming that the Democratic Party of all people have taken black women for granted.
When I think about black women and the amount of education we've amassed, the home ownership that we have, black women are just crushing it. But often I feel like black women have this tension between, who they are and the mission that they are trying to accomplish. I want to know if you faced any of that tension.
Right away, I'm curious about what she means when she says black women feel tension between who they are and the mission they're out to accomplish. What are these missions? Can a black woman help me out? I need a black woman to explain to me what the mission is. And my apologies, roller skater Texas girl. No, someone did not say white women. No, that was yesterday's show. Today, we're trying to figure out what the black woman's mission is. I need a little help on that.
Home ownership that we have. Black women are just crushing it. But often I feel like black women have this tension between, who they are and the mission that they are trying to accomplish. I want to know if you faced any of that tension when you were on your mission, especially considering that your mission was race agnostic, gender agnostic. You were trying to do the work that the country needed. Did you find that you faced tension of that sort?
And again, Kamala Harris is a relatively racially ambiguous woman. And now the interviewer here is commenting on her taking a racially agnostic approach. Not only gender agnostic, like I'm not even sure what it means to be gender agnostic, but very confusing. The whole thing is confusing.
Well, here's the thing. I think that first of all, and I will speak about, I wrote about it in the book. I think the Democratic Party has taken black women for granted. there are very specific issues that impact Black women in America that should be some of the highest priorities. I made them priorities when I was vice president, such as
How do Black women go from this?
We are absolutely winning right now. Absolutely. We have done more than change the conversation. We changed the balance of power in the federal government.
To now being not really represented well by the Democrat Party. How does that happen? The Democrat Party is singularly responsible for a lot of Black women's wealth and comfortability in America right now. I don't know how you can now turn your back and blame the Democrats for anything at this point. They are literally all you have left.
Black maternal mortality. You know, among the stakes that I knew was president in the election included whether or not we were going to pay attention to, let's say, specific health needs around like the issues like postpartum care, maternity, right, support, and then you look at what's happening now with this guy in office, and they're cutting funding for scientific research if it has the word woman or Black in it, right? So, for example, important research that still needs to be done around fibroids, right? All of that. So, to your point, I am never going to shy away from who I am, and I'm never going to feel burdened that because of who I am in terms of my race and my gender, that I should pretend to not be.
Yeah. I said,
You
wait
know?
a minute. She went to Howard. She's an AKA. What do y'all mean?
Yeah, but that was also about, again, trying to deflect from accomplishment, credibility, and what I stand for and what I was prepared to do for the country, right? And
You know, I think more than any other group of women out there, Black women in particular have been able to combine and then weaponize their race and their gender against everyone else around them, even their own Black men. And that's what I was referring to when I said that at this point, all they have left is the Democrat Party, because they've weaponized themselves against everyone else. And now they're at a point of isolation, and their only real leverage appears to be operating politically now.
it's also, look, there's still so much work that is being done, and therefore we need to do to counteract an attempt to divide our nation on many levels, including on race. And that's just we gotta speak truth about that. Everybody, regardless of your race, right?
And you know, in closing, it seems weirdly hypocritical and also hyperbolic that Black people in particular talk about race nonstop. You know, as I just said, Black women get to weaponize race and gender against everyone else, and then turn around and lament at all of the racial division that the country is going through. It's weird how that happens, isn't it? You know, the other day, I got caught up in a colorism conversation. We're going to take just a brief segue into this here. Let me share this with you guys. The video in and of itself is totally unimportant, but I just want to make a point about colorism and Black women in America. If you are not this color, I refuse to entertain a colorism conversation at all. Not even that I believe in colorism as a thing, but I'm just saying Black women, in terms of actual colorism, this is not a shade of American Black. This is literally an imported shade of Black. And unless you are, in fact, this imported shade of Black, this is an exotic shade of Black. If you are not that Black, I really don't want to hear you complain about colorism. It's just another one of those things that you've used to weaponize your femininity and your blackness against me. If you are not the color of advanced darkness, then I don't want to hear about colorism at all as a complaint from you. Anyway, back to the show.
All white people benefit from racism. Racism is systemic. It's not a few instances of someone calling a black person a slur. Racism is literally ingrained into every single system that affects how the world and America operate. And most white people don't realize how they benefit from racism. Because of their privilege, they are afforded the luxury of being able to ignore oppressive systems around them. And since racism is...
You know, at the start of the show, I pointed out how the majority of black social media content is basically three topics. You know, black men ain't shit, white men ain't shit. I mean, black men ain't shit, black women ain't shit, and then white people ain't shit, right? And then in terms of the white people part of the conversation, if you go on, especially TikTok, YouTube has more of a longer form content. And so you'll literally get 40 minutes to an hour and a half of people explaining with great imaginative detail just how awful white people are. But on TikTok, there are just a lot of very short, allegedly educational style videos explaining how awful white people are. And it really is more, I think maybe even more than the gender conversation. This is the biggest part of black online discussion. I don't even know that the gender conversation really encompasses, because the thing about the gender war is on both sides of the gender war, you will find people who have these sentiments, right? And this is why the racial conversation can occasionally cause an armistice in the gender war, because both halves of the gender war, to varying high degrees, believe that white people ain't shit. And they technically blame white people's ain't shitness for the chaos in black America, which I think is one of the reasons why you have so many people, so many black people online, and a lot of it's women, by the way, just creating all of these let me tell you about white people TikToks.
It's literally instilled in people from birth by society and sometimes family members as well. The only way that white people can escape their bias is by learning from people whose lives are consistently affected by marginalization and oppression. It also helps having parents who are actively anti-racist. But 99% of the time, white people have to make a conscious decision to actively unlearn everything that they've been taught about whiteness and what it means to be white in America. And there's no way to do that without deciding to put your feelings of discomfort to the side. White fragility has helped white people stay away from these conversations and any actions of change, because they can just say, well, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. I don't know enough about this. And so they're able to just not talk about it, not do anything, and not make a difference, and continue benefiting from the systems that oppress other people until they decide to learn about these systems and how they benefit from them and decide to care from that point on about making a change. Nothing's going to change. Many people are blind to the ways in which systemic racism helps them. And a lot of people do not want to be inconvenienced by being anti-racist. They're like, this doesn't affect me. I don't know any black people. Why should I have to do anything? I can't do anything. I'm just one person. Okay, but if every single person says I can't do anything and no one does anything, then what changes? Black people, brown people, people of color, disabled people, LGBTQ plus people, marginalized communities are not going to be the ones to make the change, because of course they care about their own oppression. Nothing is going to change until the people within the oppressive group.
Now, notice how there is this automatic assumption that all other non-white groups are somehow being collectively oppressed by white people, which is in and of itself to give white people this like nearly cosmic ability You know, the amount of power that they attribute to like just the average rank and file white person is an amazing thought. It's a conversation unto itself. But when you really get into like just the reality of the numbers and how oppression in and of itself in the modern context, honestly, white people at this point have a lot more of an argument about being oppressed by their government, according to just policy and statistics or whatever, than black people can make right now. Yet they will continue to make the argument about being oppressed.
Doesn't mean that they are actively oppressing others, but they have that power to oppress people. Until they realize there's an issue and care enough about the issues, nothing will change.
And again, you know, TikTok and probably Instagram. I said, you know, Instagram is just too black for me. I still haven't fully gotten online yet, but most of black social media is basically these types of videos.
So white people, this could all go away. This could all go away. Me and my people, we can make this all go away with the snap of our finger. With just the snap of our fingers. And you've been trying to figure out how you can get us to get up off our feet and get off our ass and help you with this country. Oh, it's so simple. I have the best solution. The only solution. If you want our help and you want this country to stop circling the fucking drain, you have to give us reparations. Yeah, I said it. I said the hard R word. Reparations. Yeah. Well, the slave owners got reparations and my black ass did it. How about that? You give us reparations and we'll have this shit done in 48 hours. That's all.
You want to talk about reparations? We pay reparations. What do you mean you want reparations? Our taxpayer dollars, which are mostly white people paying that, goes to, what is it? Affordable housing, government programs, EBT, scholarships, DEI, you guys getting jobs. Holy shit. Let's take all that, factor in the theft, factor in the crime, factor it in the murders, and then we'll talk about reparations on this show. How about that? You probably won't like that, will you? Because you're not going to like the numbers, but we are all, frankly, exhausted. You want to talk about reparations? We pay.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about the reparation thing either. I'm tired of it. I honestly am. I'm tired of the reparations. Anyway, here's a story that happened like last week. I wanted to cover this, but it just I didn't have the time.
They say Woodrow Wilson High School principal Chandra Hooper Barnett called a meeting of African-American students only during advisory period. And according to multiple parents, she told them that they were the reason that the school has a B rating and not an A. Jennifer Bush heard it from her son, a sophomore.
She said that? I was like, that's what they said to you? I was like, I'm calling the school tomorrow.
She's one of many parents to tell me that they called and complained.
I thought it was extremely discriminatory and inflammatory to sit down a bunch of black children and tell them that they're the reason why the school is in a bad light in their eyes.
And today.
Now, here's the thing, right? Sounds like racism. The principal got all the black students together and said, you guys are the reason why we lost our AAA rating. If it wasn't because of you little jibs, we would be top of the hill, right? But because of you jibs can't read and write like you're supposed to, we lost our AAA rating, right? Sounds like racism, clean cut. How dare the principal do that? But the principal's a black lady. Now I don't know how to feel about the racism thing anymore.
These blacks.
an email to parents from Woodrow Wilson announcing a new interim principal and acknowledging a, quote, recent incident occurred on our campus that does not reflect the values and expectations of our school community. No mention of Principal Hooper Barnett, but she also wrote an email to parents over the weekend to apologize, writing in part, quote, the decision to hold that meeting and subsequent discussions that transpired was not appropriate. I take full ownership and responsibility for what occurred, and I want to assure you that it was never my intent to single out or cause harm to any group of students. The email never explicitly said the exact circumstances of that meeting. Parents tell me they want more information on what happened and what was said.
There is a lot left to be desired. Like, I'm happy at the rapid response. I don't know how it was allowed to happen in the first.
Don't tell the black kids you're dragging us all down. That would have been Colin Flaherty's last book, but he passed away before he could finish the title. He was working on that though. It was going to be a bestseller, I know. Don't let the black kids know that you're dragging us all down.
Not conservative, babe. You're literally just desperate for white approval.
You're not conservative. You're desperate for white approval. You're not conservative. You're desperate for white approval. You're not conservative. You're just desperate for white approval.
I don't even know that black people in America can even conceive of politics without thinking about white people in any type of way. Like, a thing cannot just be a thing unless you run it through the prism of racism, and therefore that thing is either the responsibility of white people or somehow black people's rightful racial destiny.
White centrism in black people leads to conservatism. Conservatism is necessarily white-centric. If you crave white approval, going conservative is the ultimate move. It must seem like a way of escaping your blackness, like I'm escaping racism because I'm conservative. I got off the plantation. I'm in the house with Massa now. I'm not saying the Democratic Party is doing the perfect job for black people, but liberalism is surely. The Black Panther Party and Black Lives Matter both are talking about liberalism. Liberalism is about inclusivity. Black MAGAs are part of a community that does not want them.
You know the irony of being accused of being a part of a party that does not want them? One of the primary planks of being a part of the Democrat Party, the liberal worldview, is women get to choose, as it were, right? Meaning your party doesn't want your children. And I don't know how we can kind of square that circle, you know? Are you really a friend if you hate my children? If you don't want my children to live, can you really be called a friend or an ally? It's such a weird mental framework. I don't know why people don't see it that way. This is why there's so much hypocrisy in the black racial conversation. It's like an inherently hypocritical conversation. And, you know, I'm glad we kind of live in the internet era, because once upon a time, you would have had to do a lot of legwork to gather all the stupidity and the hypocrisy into one location and go through it piece by piece. Like, for example, you know, we're talking about black people being oppressed. I mean, we're talking about black people being obsessed with white people, being obsessed with racism and the racial conversation. And I want to share something else with you now. Apparently, this alleged comedian says that he found the ancestors of the family that owned his ancestors during slavery. And he thinks about stalking them. He probably does actually stalk them.
Found the white family that purchased the first black wood of my bloodline off the slave ships in Charleston.
Yep, that's what we came off of.
If I wanted to today, I could find the white wood descendants in southern Georgia and pull up on a fucking house. One day I will.
Yeah.
Why would you? Pull up on their house and do what? Are you going to ask them for money? Are you going to pull up on their house and demand your reparation?
Give me the money. Give me the money for all that I would do. Give me the money.
Got no money though. I Zillowed they crib. They broke. Like, yeah. That's the thing we'll talk about with slavery, man, is that there's a lot of white people fumbled. Like, yo.
They fumbled the bag.
Yeah, you had working for you, you still couldn't come up. How you broke and you had slaves?
Yeah, that was valuable. That was gold.
They fumbled, bro.
That's Code Shannon to get $50 in lineups after you.
Now, you know, the interesting thing about that, you know, you could take that in another direction. Apparently having a lot of black people working for you leads to generational poverty. I'm going to back away slowly from that. And, you know, again, speaking of black people being completely obsessed by the racial conversation, I don't know if I've actually shared this particular story with you guys, but this is the other side of the racial obsession, right? You know, there's the whole Pan-African wave, and I talked to you about O'Shea kind of turning his back a little bit on Pan-Africanism. He's like openly criticizing parts of Africa now, criticizing Pan-Africanism as an ism. And this obese lady had to find out the hard way.
But y'all, I'd rather go back to America and deal with the racism in America before I sit here in Africa and deal with the bullshit bribery, the bullshit fraud, the bullshit scams, the bullshit too expensive, the bullshit not having no snacks, the bullshit not having no food, the bullshit electricity, the bullshit hot water, the bullshit what's that shit called that be coming down? The bullshit animals, it's scorpions outside the house, it's big ass spiders, it's big ass lizards, colorful lizards you ain't never seen before, all in the fucking room with you, sleep.
Come on, like the video, people. Somebody throw $1 in the hat. This chick got to live with colorful lizards and monkeys and everything, wild animals. She had no idea that oppression and racism was better than African freedom. Could you imagine that? American oppression and American racism is technically better than African freedom.
Even with you, all the bullshit people trying to scam you when you go outside thinking you rich, so they trying to get more money off of you. I'm really trying to wrap my head around this shit. I'm really trying to wrap my head around how are Americans coming to Africa and being happy. Please comment down below, because for me, I'm ready to go. And I always used to say, if it's up to me, it will be. And I'm going to go out to Africa and make shit happen. No, I don't want to. I want to take my businesses back to America. I want to open up shop back in America, open up my dentist office, and all the stuff that I was going to do out here in America. Steady electricity. And the only time our electricity get cut off is...
Is she a dentist? Because, you know, there's this whole right-wing joke about, you know, doctors and engineers. I guess we have to add dentists to the list of stereotypical pro-Black identities. We're doctors, we're engineers, and we're dentists now. I had no idea.
We don't pay the bill. And we got it so good now, we got prepaid electricity. So if we forget to pay the bill, we put some money on that prepaid thing and it comes right back on in 2 minutes. In less than 2 minutes. This shit right here didn't come on for 14 hours yesterday. I can't deal. I love the people. Don't get me wrong. When I'm outside, I'm having fun. I love the people. But when I come back to reality, when you come back home, home is where the heart is, right? When you come back home, you're supposed to feel comfortable. You're supposed to be happy. I'm not happy. To live in a house where you look outside and all you see is turkeys and ducks and chickens and sheeps and old malnourished cows.
Even the cows are malnourished out there. She the only one looked like she had a decent meal. That's terrible.
You can't be calm about this. I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart disease.
I'm white. I can't comment.
Listen to what I'm saying. The reason why heart disease and cancer and obesity and diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day. If you can't.
Being indirectly called the N-word is literally killing black people. When you indirectly call, when you think the N-word in my general direction, I literally die.
Can a nigga live? Can a nigga live? Please.
Be calm about this. I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart disease.
I'm white. I can't comment.
Listen to what I'm saying. The reason why heart disease and cancer and obesity and diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day. If you.
When you understand that the first humans to ever walk this planet were black, you can understand where white fragility but also white supremacy comes from. Any oppression comes from a fear of not being good enough, a fear of competition. And when you understand that the blueprint is literally a black woman, a black man, you can understand why white people have felt the need to conquer people of color's land, because black people are closer to the DNA makeup of the original people to be here on earth than white people are. When you understand that the first humans to ever walk this planet were black, you can understand where white fragility but also white supremacy comes from.
You know, one of the most accurate theories of the modern world is the septum ring theory. There has been no singular identifier of an incoming horrible opinion like the septum ring. It's literally like, it's something like a gaydar. Like, if you know the septum ring is approaching, horrible thoughts and ideas and opinions are immediately following behind. It's just this weird thing. Like, I just know if I get a septum ring pinging anywhere in my vicinity, I know she's retarded, not to be dealt with. There's just no way. You can never work with it. Even after you remove the septum ring, there's like a 5-year detox period.
See biracial couples in the media. Ask yourself why it's always a black person or a person of color and a white person. It's never a black person and an Indian person, or an Indian person and a Hispanic person, or Asian and a Latino. It's always a person of color and a white person. A black woman and a white man. A black man and a white woman. Ask yourself what purpose that serves.
Ask yourself who runs these commercials. This is another part of the black conversation that just irks me, you know. It's so one-dimensional. You really think it's white people forcing black people onto white people in commercials? You really think that's who's doing it?
See biracial couples in the media. Ask yourself why it's always a black person or a person of color and a white person. It's never a black person and an Indian person, or an Indian person and a Hispanic person, or Asian and a Latino. It's always a person of color and a white person. A black woman and a white man. A black man and a white woman. Ask yourself what purpose that serves. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you. It's white supremacy. They want you to feel like your ultimate greatest good is being with a white person. We all must aspire to whiteness. We all must aspire to the love of white people. It would be a terrifying reality for white people, which is the reason why they created racists in the first place, so that we could all be separated and they could rule the world while they continue to have us fight amongst each other. You see biracial couples in the media. Ask yourself.
You know the weird irony of what she just said? Black women desire white women. I'm sorry, black women desire white men like infinitely more than white men desire black women. Like, if you could measure it out in terms of distance, the amount of desire that black women have for white men, there's literally a galaxy between them. Like, black women are willing to cross that galaxy, and white guys are trying to build spaceships with defenses and shields and proton torpedoes. White dudes are defending their galaxy from the incoming onslaught of the vagina galactic, the black vagina core. They're just not trying to hear it. Yet somehow this young lady believes that white people have a conspiracy to put black women and white men together in commercials. The audacity of it all. The amount of space that white people spend in black people's minds, it really is, it's deeply disturbing when I really look at the totality of it.
A black person, have you ever been treated by white people as if you are invisible? This used to set my mother off, and it happened to me last night. I was at this wonderful event at the New Orleans Museum of Art, and I was at the bar waiting to get another sparkling water, and I was one person behind. It was my turn next, and two older gentlemen came up and stood right in front of me and got in the line as if I wasn't even there. This is a symptom of race privilege and class privilege, because in their minds, you actually aren't there. The servant class is supposed to be invisible. There's this kind of devastating line in The Butler when the lady says to him, when you enter a room, it should feel like there's no one in it. To them, your invisibility is part of your cast.
Now, this is a I forget his name, but he's been on TV. He's a part of the media world. He's been on CNN and all that. Let's call him not wealthy. Let's call him a successful gay man who is also black. And psychologically, what he's revealing is that he feels invisible to white people, which also means that he desperately wants to be seen by white people. And because he desperately wants to be seen by white people, he spends the majority of his career criticizing white people for not looking at him the way he wants to be seen as a gay black man. Here's another one.
Because Donald Trump has a history of racism himself.
No, that's
These
not
people-
true.
Are you kidding
I'm
me?
sorry,
Donald
that's
Trump
not
started his
true.
career with racism. In the 1970s, he was sued for housing discrimination. In 1989, he led the lynch mob against the Central Park Five. In the 1990s, he was sued by casino workers for racial discrimination. He led a 5.5-year campaign against Barack Obama. Donald Trump came in office talking about he was going to ban Muslims. Like
He has
bringing
the
drug-
most
Donald
multiracial
Trump has a
coalition
long history. You didn't deny
that the-
anything of the things
that
I
the
just said.
Republican Party has
Donald
ever
Trump
had.
just this year said that he's allowing white South Africans to come to the United States, but not black South Africans.
Why did the
What could be more
why
racist
did the
than that?
majority of Latino men vote for him? Why did 25% of black men vote for him?
It was
if
not
that's the
25%.
case?
And still, black people are the most loyal group against Donald Trump, in fact, because we clearly could see through the charade that he was
So
putting
why
up.
did 25%
Donald Trump has
of black men
a
vote for him?
50-year history
Why
of
did a
racism.
majority of Hispanic men vote for him? If he's
I'm not a Hispanic person. I can tell you as a black man that Donald Trump is a racist. That's unquestionable.
I don't.
As a gay man, he can tell you that Donald Trump is racist. I don't know why he didn't say that. I mean, he could have said that. It would have been still factually correct about him and also what he believes about Trump. But you know what? We are going to wrap this one up for today. I know you guys might have wanted a panel on this one, but we're going to just put this one in the can. But I have some good news for you. I'm working on a second show. Completely different topic, completely different subject matter. We're going to come back in an, I don't know, hour maybe. I'm going to go find me something to eat. I need lunch. We're going to come back with another show, and then we'll have a panel discussion. And you're probably going to want to talk about this one a lot more. But we're going to wrap this one up right here. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Hit that like button on your way out. I will catch you guys on the next show.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.